the website, therealnewsradio.com, and we're going to just continue with different news that we want to get into the broadcast today. And then again, next hour, we want to take phone calls from the listeners to continue what we were talking about before the break. This came out, I believe, the day before yesterday. The World Health Organization told its member nations it was declaring a swine flu pandemic Thursday, the first global flu epidemic in 41 years, as infections climbed in the United States, Europe, Australia, South America, and elsewhere. In a statement sent to health officials, the World Health Organization said it decided to raise the pandemic warning level from 5 to 6, its highest alert, after holding an emergency meeting with its flu experts. World Health Organization Chief Dr. Margaret Chan was expected to make a formal announcement on the pandemic later Thursday. So we see that this flu pandemic obviously is not going away. So with this in mind, this was on the Today Show this past week, and it's about a 2-minute or so clip. I want everyone to listen closely as to what is being said is coming up with regards to the flu pandemic. Now, I think everyone will find this very interesting. You need to know this information. You need to pass it on. This is on our website. Any of the clips are on our website, therealnewsradio.com, so you can share them or watch them again. But here we go.
But now to report in this morning's Washington Post, the Obama administration is considering implementing a new fall vaccination program against the flu, a plan that would require Americans to get not 1, not 2, but 3 flu shots. Dr. Nancy Seidemann is NBC's chief medical editor. Nancy, good morning.
Hi, Meredith.
Unprecedented this is. How would this work?
Well, here's the idea. On the first Saturday, when we knew swine flu was an issue, the Centers for Disease Control held a conference, and we were already talking, with those of us who listened in, about how you're going to ramp up manufacturing this new vaccine on top of the old vaccine.
It takes a lot of time.
Right.
About 5 months.
And the decision was made, if we're going to get the normal flu vaccine to the general public in the fall, to hold it up while we figure out the swine flu was perhaps going to put the entire population at risk. So at that moment, the decision was made, we will go to normal flu production for the normal vaccine, like it is. Figure out the flu. Right, for seasonal flu. Figure out what the swine flu really is, and then perhaps tag team a second vaccine on top of it.
So that's why they didn't combine them into one shot. But why 2 additional shots for swine flu?
For the normal seasonal flu that you and I talk about every year, there's a herd immunity to some extent, so you only need 1 shot. The new strain we've never seen before, so that requires sort of thinking about when we give our babies their first shot. You get your shot, it boosts up your immune system, and then you need a booster. So for the new H1N1 swine flu, for which there's no known immunity in our population, that requires 2 shots.
I would think, because it's hard to get people to take the original.
As we know, don't we? Since you don't get your flu shot.
No, I don't. Okay. I'm this year, though.
Good.
But now you're asking people to get 3. That's a tough sell.
Well, Meredith, I think you hit the nail on the head. This is going to be a public relations, trust your government and your health officials public campaign. Mark my words, you and I are going to be talking about this a lot between now and fall. So I think what the government is likely going to do is urge people to early on get their normal flu shot, and then trust the scientists to say the swine flu is for real, get these other 2. Now,
you heard it right there. Trust your government. They're already concocting the flu shot for you come this fall, as if they already know it's coming. Now, this was reported in the France newspaper this past week. Big Pharma concocts first swine flu vaccine. Swiss drug giant Novartis has completed a first batch of swine flu vaccine for preclinical trials and aims to make a version available for September, the company said. Novartis has successfully completed the production of the first batch of influenza, a H1N1 vaccine, weeks ahead of expectations, the company says. Now, this is H1N1. The 10-liter batch will be used for preclinical evaluations and testing, and also being considered for use in clinical trials. So what we were reporting here is, and you just heard it, this was on the Today Show this past week, they are preparing a 3 flu shot for this fall in preparations of a flu pandemic. Now, Brian, you can give us a little bit of the history. Dr. Carley did. Back in the 70s, we had a flying flu outbreak. The government came out with a forced inoculation, killed more people. Well, the flu only killed 1 person, am I correct?
Yes, and I believe 25 had died from the inoculation.
And several were paralyzed and, damaged irreparably. But here we've got them coming out, and they're saying there's going to be a media campaign to trust the government to take these shots.
This is where the true definition of fascism comes into play. I mean, we have the merging of corporatism within the government to promote a government agenda. In this case, it's Big Pharma. Big Pharma is going to benefit selling their vaccines, which they're brewing up right now by the millions of doses while everybody sleeps. The media's not pushing this campaign yet until they get it all ready. And then, of course, it benefits the government. They have mass control, same as the military-industrial complex. They benefited from the war, while at the same time the government benefited from the war. They got to assimilate another country into the New World Order, Iraq, Afghanistan. So this is precisely where the merging of corporate and government come into play. This is fascism.
And I see this as foreshadowing. I mean, they're mentally preparing us for the coming pandemic. We're at level 6. We can't go any higher. And all they've got to do is release the flu that they have manufactured in a lab 10 years ago. They've got it ready, and they might even have it in the shots. I know that sounds crazy, but it's happened before. We can prove it. Just look at Baxter Pharmaceuticals sending out flu shots with H1N1 just mere months ago. We reported it here.
Well, it has been proven, and like you say, when it does happen, oh, man, that was a mistake. We're sorry, that guy, I don't know how that happened. They fire some lab technician or somebody in shipping.
Or the lone crazed lunatic that we always have.
The anthrax case.
The anthrax case, yes.
Walks down the road with anthrax on his pants to go to his house to wash it off. I mean, come on.
That's the kind of frame that they put on that gentleman. I can't call his name at the moment, but we reported it was an amazing story that, as I know I say this weekly, but got absolutely no reporting in the mainstream puppet press. But I found this just amazing. On the Today Show, they're saying that the Obama administration is preparing us for a 3 flu shot vaccination year. The last 7 years, the flu shot that you got, they admitted, wasn't even the correct flu. It was useless, but it made everybody sick anyway.
And did you hear twice she said, trust the government?
Trust the government. This is the same government that allows fluoride in the water, mercury in the vaccines. Look up MK Ultra and Google MK Ultra and look at what the government was doing in the late 60s, early 70s if you want to know how well you can trust the government. Mind control experiments on the public without their knowledge. It's an amazing, if you look for the truth, you might be amazed at what you find. Can you handle the truth? Well, let's continue with the news, Brian, unless there's something else you'd like to say on that. That is, like I say, that is on our website, therealnewsradio.com. You can go to it, see it for yourself.
I mean, just like the Spanish 1918 flu, that was proven to come straight out of military bases. I mean, it had nothing to do with Spain. I don't even know where they came up with that.
Well, while we're on the subject, the swine flu that killed the one in 1976, it started on a military base. He was a member of the military, the only person that died from it other than the ones the government killed.
Unbelievable. This is another story here, which is extraordinarily odd. I haven't heard anything since Monday. Maybe you have. This is from the Charlotte Observer, Monday, June 8th, 2009. Not to worry, Charlotte explosion part of military exercise. Christopher Kirkpatrick. A reported explosion at an uptown federal building late Sunday morning was just a military exercise, said Charlotte Fire Department Captain Mark Bassnight. The department received a call from a civilian who said there had been an explosion in the back of the Charles R. Jonas Federal Building at 401 West Trade Street. The fire department responded but left the scene after realizing it wasn't an emergency. Several military personnel and fatigues could be seen inside the gated back lot of the building. Some arm of the military was conducting a drill, Bassnight said. There were no apparent signs of an explosion or any damage. No other details were available. And I haven't seen if anything else has come out this week. If anyone's listening knows of any, please call in. But, I mean, this is just odd.
Very odd story. I saw the same report you did. I did buy a Charlotte Observer, I think it was Thursday, and I'm going to touch on that. I discussed it with you earlier. But it did not. I looked, and that edition did not have anything in it about this. We're coming up on a break. We're going to continue with the news in 3 minutes. You're listening to The Real News with Barron and Brian on the Liberty News Radio Network, libertynewsradio.com.